Okay, I want to talk to first-time home buyers tonight. So if you know someone who is a first-time home buyer or who is thinking about becoming a first-time home buyer, please share this video with them, tag them to the bottom, whatever. Have them listen to this, because this information that I'm about to dish out is so important. It's such a good thing to remember when we're in this market that is still a seller's market right now. Okay? Or has been a seller's market, especially for those of you who have been discouraged for a minute. Maybe you've been in the market and you've been looking for a while and you've gotten discouraged. This message is for you. I need you guys to start thinking of real estate in a different way. I don't know if you are like me, but when I first came into the real estate world, meaning becoming a first-time home buyer, started going through that process, even though my husband was a real estate agent, but like my mindset around buying the house literally stopped at that. It was just the process of, I have a growing family. We were living in a 1.5 story townhome in Hartwell, and we were 4 people. No, 5 people. It was me and my husband and our 3 kids in a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath home, right? So really small. And I can remember during the process when we decided that we were ready to buy a house, it was really just for the purpose of like, we're just getting too big. This is too small. I'm tired of the little bugs that are crawling across the carpet. Like, I can't do this anymore. We need some space. I don't like these stairs. It was about all of those things. And then it was just like, I just want a house. And that was it. And I think some of us were there, right? If you can relate to what I'm saying, because maybe you're in a situation right now where that is the case. Like, there's a circumstance that has come up that has caused you to be like, I got to get another house because I'm having another baby, or my family is growing, or because the landlord just went up on your rent. I mean, whatever. There's a reason, right? And it stops at that. And then while you're in the process, you start thinking and you're like, oh, I'm qualified for this much. And man, the fact that I can buy a house, this will be really awesome. And so then you start to think about wanting all of the things, right? You start thinking about all of the space that you want, and it needs to be much better than what I'm living in now. Those are the things that we say for sure. And the mindset around it is more centered around, this is going to be my forever home. So because this is going to be my forever home, I got to make sure I get what I want. And then while we're shopping, and I don't know if you are like me, but my very first time buying, I wasn't brought up knowing about the home buying process. I wasn't taught that there was a certain amount of money that I needed to save up in order to put down. Like, no, there was no guidance there, and no diss to my parents. They're amazing people. It's just, that's what it was. I didn't even know that anybody taught them, so, but no, I didn't know. I didn't know what the process was like, and nobody told me anything else except that, I knew that it was kind of looked good upon if you bought a house. Like, that was a grown-up thing to do, is to own your own property. So when we think about it in terms of, this is my forever home, we find ourselves, I know what I was going to say. Like, when we're those first-time home buyers, because you haven't really been taught about, the importance of getting a job that pays a certain amount and not having a certain amount of debt, and making sure that you save up a certain amount. Like, this wasn't really taught to me in terms of do this so that you can be able to buy a nice house one day. And I say that because when I got pre-approved, I was only pre-approved for like, I want to say maybe $105,000. That was it. $105,000. And some of you that are watching, that very well may be your story. You're like, oh yeah, me too. And in that time, $100,000 could get you something decent. It wasn't going to get me my property that was going to check off all of the marks, but it was going to get me something decent. But y'all, we looked and we looked and we looked. We put offers in on different places, and we probably put offers in on 10 different places. And I got so discouraged. I got so discouraged in the process. I was ready to give up. The stuff that I would fall in love with, my husband didn't want it. Like, there was something that he didn't like, and the stuff that he was falling in love with, I didn't really want it. Like, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. I can remember it so well. And one of the things, I watch the first time home buyers that I get a chance to interact with, and they're also going through a lot of the same things that I also went through the very first time that I became a homeowner. There's this emotional roller coaster, this up and down roller coaster that we end up they end up experiencing, and they're not sure, they're sure, obviously, like, it's a process, right? And I feel so thankful for the step that I made, because I ended up choosing a house that I was not in love with. Hey, Jennifer, love you, love you. I ended up choosing a house that I was not in love with. As a matter of fact, most of you probably would not have purchased this house. You would not have purchased this house, because the condition of this house was that of you could not see the floor. The reason why you could not see the floor, because it was covered in filth. It was old green linoleum all throughout the house, covered in rat pee, rat feces, dirt. The house had sat for a very, very long time. And the house was just covered, like the countertops, the kitchen, which was very spacious, or is very spacious. The kitchen was covered in rat poo. It had a whole bunch of somebody's stuff in it, just all over the countertops. There was an awful smell. There was the dark wood paneling throughout. My appliances were that olive green, which apparently is in right now. What else? There was filthy carpet in the bedrooms. Filthy carpet in the bedrooms. Like, just a mess. The backyard, like, you couldn't even see. Things were overgrown. I will even say, before we bought the house, there was a snake that came out of the oven. It came out of the oven. Okay, so I'm telling you all this because we came in, after we bought the house, we came in and we painted, we redid the floors. My husband actually, I did help, but I painted mostly. I did mostly paint, but he came in, he redid the floors. We asked people to come in and help clean and scrub things down like 5 times, and got the house where it was livable. We put some very commercial grade carpet in the bedrooms. We did just that. And then we spent many days outside in the backyard, like cleaning it off, cutting things down, just training it, getting it where it needs to go. And the house finally started to look like something that I had not even imagined. We came through and brought light into the house, all throughout the house, simply by quilting that wood paneling and painting it a light color. The house did not look the same. It was a place that I was like, okay, I could be here. I could live here. But at the time, I was not thinking this is just going to be a temporary place. It felt like this was going to be my forever home, which was why it was a little difficult for me to pull the trigger in the first place. The reason why I said yes to my husband was because I had just gotten tired. I was frustrated. I was like, I don't even want to argue anymore. I'm tired of arguing about this. But we know that once we decide to go through the remodel of this home, because we only paid $100,000 to be in this 2,100 square foot brick home in town on a little over an acre of land, it was actually a great investment considering. It was a great investment because once we do a remodel, we know that we would be able to sell this house between $200,000 and $300,000 in this current market. And take the profits from that and be able to buy our second home or forever home. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this to say that if you have currently been pre-qualified for a number that just seems so daunting, every time you look online, you're like, gosh, it's either I'm getting trash or I have to buy something super small or something. It doesn't check off certain important boxes to you. I want to give you another school of thought. Hey, Nuda. I want to give you this thought. And the thought is, what if instead of going in for the first time thinking, I'm going to go into this and buy my forever home, what if you think about it as going in and buying it as an investment home? An investment. Meaning when you buy it, you realize that it'll be temporary. And you are purchasing this to live in this so that you're not paying rent to someone else where it's not going to benefit you in the long run necessarily in the investment part. You know, if you're looking to generate more money so that you can buy what you want, to earn more, in a way to earn more money, more income. But it's not income that happens like monthly. It's like you cash in to get equity. So you're buying a property so that you can earn equity while you're paying on it. That's the idea. You earn equity on the property until when you choose to sell. When you do sell, you will end up having, hopefully, a nice big profit. You take that money and you use it as a down payment on the home that you truly want. The reason why I'm imploring you to consider this is because if you're in the area that we currently live in, you know that the rental prices are going up. And some of you are just choosing to give up. But I definitely would ask that you consider looking at something that maybe you would not have, you wouldn't buy as your forever home, but it's a place that you feel like you would be able to live in for the next 5 years or so. And you wait for the equity to build in that home while you're fixing it up. Because you can do that now, right? Because it's yours. It's not somebody else's rental property. And while you're putting the money into that to make it better and you're putting the love into it and you're paying that mortgage, which would be the rent, someone else's mortgage on their house, you're doing it for yourself. In 5 to 10 years, when you're ready to sell, then the idea would be that you would gain the equity for that home and be able to move on up. Sometimes getting to our dreams doesn't happen in the next step. Sometimes there are a couple of steps that need to happen or can happen before you get there. It's totally up to you. This is not a must thing. It's just something that I wanted to drop in and, help just give another piece of insight. Sorry, y'all. I'm so tired. I'm like having the hardest time saying what I need to say, but just another piece of insight for you. It is not the end of the world. I totally get it that our budgets are what they are. And everybody's in a different spot. But if you are in a way, if you're younger especially, and you're able to do this, you're able to look at it in a different way. I mean, I've worked with several clients who have done this. And I mean, they bought at the right time and literally like had a huge investment within a year. Now, I'm not promising that to anybody because I am not God. I don't know what's going to happen with the economy. I can't guarantee anything like that. But I would just, like to give some insight here, because I think a lot of us aren't brought up to think of it in this way. We're brought up to think that there's it's one time that you buy real estate. That's the time you buy your house and that's it. But there are other people who are building wealth, who are where we want to be. Some of us, we're looking at like how they get that house, well, they actually potentially, some of them were some of them took risks and they bought that first little house and they fixed it up and they bought early and they didn't keep renting and paying out for forever. They bought early and then they were able to sell when it made sense to sell. That's how they got that $100,000 in 30 days. So, and it's happening to all types of people, y'all. It's happening to it's happening to people that I've taught. It's happening to people that I've worked with, my colleagues. It's happening to all the ethnicity groups. It's happening for all genders. This is not it doesn't care about your identity, the color of your skin. This is just a rule that you can utilize, and I want to share it with you. So if you know someone that can totally utilize this information, please share this knowledge, because to me, it's a very encouraging way to think and move forward. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. If you have some thoughts about what I've said, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it that way, definitely let me know that. Interact, kind of share some thoughts with me, and I will see you on tomorrow. Bye.